heard that. Hey, yo, once again, it's your friend Sizwe, and I want to welcome you to another episode of What They Do. You know, this Miami, man, what they do. You know, in Miami, we say what they do. That means like, what's up, what's popping, what's going on. And so I say to you, what's up, man, what they do. Listen, man, this next guest that I have here today, DJ extraordinaire. I've been knowing him for some time, and I'm just glad that he's here. He's an open format DJ, you know, and he's played all over the world and continues to kill the dance, especially right here in Miami. His tag is hey yo Blink. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Blink the Link. Hey yo Blink. What they do, man?
Hey, yo, Sizwe, what they do, man?
What they do?
I appreciate that intro. That was a vibe.
I thought about it for a little bit, you know?
Listen, a lot of people don't know the Ayo Blink came from you. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but it was an accident. One day I was making a mix and I was like, I need a new drop. I just want something fresh.
Yeah.
And like you had just sent me a dub or email, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to chop this up. And literally from that day, it stuck.
Yeah.
Like, I put the mix out, and from that day, everybody, when they see me, was Ayo Blink, Ayo Blink. So,
you know, I'm happy about that. And I'll tell you why, too. Because I remember I went to a party. It was an outdoor party. I can't remember what it was. And we was all kind of linemen just hanging out. And this young lady came up to me, and she was like, are you Ayo Blink? Right? And I was like, nah, that's Blink, right?
Oh, I remember. I was there. I was at that party.
And then she was like, no. Are you Ayo Blink? And I was like, yeah.
Vibe.
You know, so I'm glad that I've been able to support your brand and what it is that you bring to the table. I'm glad that my vocal enhancement has been able to assist you in being recognized as you have been. You know what I'm saying? So
thank you.
So thank you for letting me be a part of your journey, my man.
Man, listen, it's easy. You know, like I tell all my artist homies, once the music is good and the vibes is good, like y'all, you make my job easy.
Yeah.
So 1 and 1 is 2. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 1 hand don't clap. You know?
Yeah, 1 hand don't clap. You know, Blink, I'm glad you're here because there's so much to talk about, especially in the industry, in the music, you know, and you come from a certain place that where music thrives, specifically Caribbean music. You know, my publicist sent your people over a request for your bio, and I was able to take a look at that and read through it. You know, and it talked about you being an open format DJ, playing from all over the place. But one thing it was missing was the fact that you were how do you say this? A foot model for Nike.
You know,
how come the bio don't talk about your foot modeling?
You know, like
for Foot Locker.
As you can see, you know, I got the Nikes on now. You know, shout out to Nike. I didn't include it because like I try and keep everything focused on my DJing and my music. It's kind of one of those like if you know type things. Like even with me and the camera, like yeah, I'll pick up the camera from time to time, or I might, you know, open up Photoshop from time to time, you know. But I try and keep everything focused on the music and the DJing, just because that's ultimately.
So how you got into foot modeling?
You know, it happened by accident. You know, like
I'm just kidding. I didn't really know you was a foot model.
So I've always been into sneakers. And then when I was in college, when I finally like started making money on my own, I was able to actually buy the sneakers that I wanted, you know? Shout out to moms, and you know, she did what she could when I was growing up, but I was able to buy my first pair of Jordans when I got to college. Like I didn't own a pair of Jordans or fancy Nikes until college. And then, you know, I started collecting, and just from me naturally being into it, they were coming down here for like a commercial. I think it was a Foot Locker commercial. For the NBA playoffs. And it was like a tweet. It was like, oh, submit your page and whatever. I just put my Instagram page and forgot about it. Got an email one day, and it was like, yo, we shooting a commercial. And I actually got paid for this. It wasn't even like, you know, oh, yeah, we just want models. It's like, nah, I got like checks. Like I had to sign paperwork and union stuff. And yeah, so that happened, and then
Official.
they followed up, and I was in now a print ad, and I was all over in Foot Locker. Like people was like tagging me. That like I didn't personally see myself in these places, but a lot of people would see it and post it, and like just the fact that people would recognize me and post it, like that was like really cool because one, they could just walk right past it, but they like took the time to say, you know what, that's my dog. I'm gonna show them that I see.
I was definitely one of those people, bro.
Yeah.
I was in the mall and I was looking for some sneakers. I walked in, I think Foot Locker, and I walked past and I was like, that looked like Blink, and so I went back again. I'm like, yo, it's Blink. And I took the picture, sent it to you, like, yeah, man, that's me. So that, it's always good to see. I think it's always good to see the people that you love, that are closest to you, doing great things. Putting themselves out there on platforms where the world can see them.
100%.
Everybody don't get that opportunity, and so for you to go after it, have the testicular fortitude to be like, I'm just gonna submit my joint, and we'll see. And then they take it, right? That's a lesson for everybody, Blink, what does it mean to be an open format DJ? What does that mean?
So I can give you the political term, and I can give you my definition. So politically, open format, is just another term for hip hop in a sense. That's kind of where the term came from. It was a way for clubs to say hip hop without saying it.
Urban,
like words like urban,
right.
Or this, like people didn't want to say hip hop because in their mind it attracted a certain crowd or whatever. So
a negative connotation or something.
Yeah. So like the political answer is that's kind of where it stemmed from. But if hip hop is a culmination of lots of different genres. The earliest days of hip hop wasn't what we know it as today. They were playing, disco and dance and soul music and breaks and all kind of different music, and that's what hip hop was. So now today it kind of still it kind of formed back into that, where open format kind of means, all right, you go to a party and you're gonna play some hip hop and you might hear some house or some Latin music, maybe some dancehall tracks, some oldies. That's kind of open format.
Yeah, I thought that's what I thought open format was more of a DJ who can play in every space, anything.
Yeah, like so. Coming up, in a Caribbean background, I think, Caribbean open format, I don't think it's been coined a term, but I think it's a thing. Because when I started, there wasn't really a lot of people that in the Caribbean scene that played everything. Everything was somewhat segregated. So like you had your soca DJs and you had your dancehall DJs, and then you had your roots reggae sound system DJs. I definitely want to make a distinction that open format doesn't necessarily make you versatile, because I think that's another step past open format. Personally, I think it's easy to, all right, you have your top hits in reggaeton, your top hits in hip hop and dancehall and whatever, and you go to a club and you can play those, entertain the crowd, and yeah, that's open format.
I got so much I want to ask you, and I'm skipping around in my mind, but I've been watching you on your socials, and the way the format at which you are playing reminds me of I'm a Piano sets, right? Where the crowd is not over there, but they're around you. Mm-hmm. Right, and you're playing in that space.
Yeah.
Is that intentional, or is that just camera angles? Right. You know what I mean, right? And I'm a Piano world. At least from the videos that I've seen.
I mean, I haven't organized my own event in a while, so I can't say a lot of it is intentional.
Okay.
From on my end, maybe on the event organizers or just how the venue set up. Maybe it's intentional, but. A lot of it is camera angles, but personally, I love that intimate connection. Like, we used to do a party at this spot in Wynwood Brick It was my homie's party, Cool Blaze, Good Vibes. You know, me and him was there from day one, and like I really loved Good Vibes at that venue because even though we were a little elevated, people can just walk up to the DJ. Like there was always people behind me while I was DJing. And then I looked over the DJ booth down on the dance floor. There were people down there, and like I loved that energy in that space for that party because like it was nothing for people to just stand next to you and vibe or, you know, pop your collar if you're doing good or just, you know, just be in the midst of everything. Like I felt more of a connection, you know, so being close to the audience is always like cool when it's the right audience. Yeah.
Skipping around again, because you said something about people being able to come up to the DJ. Why does it seem today, right, that it is such a problem for a patron to come and request a song from the DJ? It seems to me like DJs are like, man, don't ask me to play anything. Enjoy the show.
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because we don't want to be like divas, right? Where it's like, yo, don't ask me nothing, don't approach me, don't talk to me. But to a certain extent, the organizers of the event, the owner of the venue, the manager, whoever, hired that person, whether it's me or anyone else, to do a job. And their job is to entertain the audience. However they see fit, the manager, whatever, saw something in them to entertain the crowd. So, you know, when someone comes up and makes a request, first things first.
Okay, talk to me.
First things first.
And talk the truth, man. Talk the truth.
A request is just that, right? It's a request.
Yeah.
Some people are very nice and respectful requesters.
Okay.
I don't mind them at all. Doesn't mean I'm going to play the song. It's a request. Some people are notorious demanders.
Okay.
Right? Oh, we're leaving in 5 minutes. Play this song. Oh, play something that people are going to dance to. But what do you think we're up here doing? Right? You know, now I get it. If you go out and you hear a DJ you don't like, or you hear a song you don't like or whatever, you know, there are cases where the DJs just aren't good, right? It doesn't happen too often here in Miami. Like, you know, I tell people all the time, I'll take a DJ from Miami or the Caribbean over anybody in the world. Give me the worst DJ in Miami, the worst DJ from the Caribbean. I put money on them against anybody in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Because of how I know how DJs down here grow and what they got to go through and the diversity that's down here. Now there's places that.
So you trying to tell me that the DJs from Miami, on a whole, not an individual, but on a whole, are the elite?
There's a few that are like top of the list when it comes to the elite. Caribbean DJs from Miami, DJs from New York. They kind of have that same, you know, grind that they had to go through and understanding of like the history and the culture of DJing.
Yeah.
And there's obviously always outliers anywhere. There's probably a wicked DJ right now in the middle of Arkansas that nobody knows about, but he's fire.
Yeah.
He or she's fire.
Okay.
Right? But on a grand scheme of things, like, you know, Miami like was a thing. When you saw a flyer and it said from Miami, it meant something. When you saw from New York,
and it still means something.
I don't think any of that means anything right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, not to stray too far from the question. The requesting is like, you know, I'm up here to do a job, and I get it. You might want to hear a song. You might, you know, feel a certain way. A lot of people will go to like an Afrobeat night and start asking for hip hop, or go to an R&B party and start asking for dancehall. It's like, you got to know where you are. First, understand that it's a request at the end of the day. It's not a guarantee that.
So it's the out of line, out of pocket request that's a problem. It's not necessarily the request.
It's really the entitlement, right? Because like, you can come up and make a request all you want. Doesn't mean I have to play it, but let's be respectful, you know? And sometimes someone might make a request that I might play it, not because I feel obligated to, but, oh, it's a good idea. Or, and then think about that, or it gives me an idea, sparks some creativity. Cause, you know, I don't prepare necessarily what I'm going to play, you know, before I set. Like, I use my, you know, expertise and my, you know, experience. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like there's a way to do it and a way not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You know, you mentioned LL Cool Blaze, right?
Yeah.
And I met you through LL Cool Blaze.
Facts.
So you were part of Islands 360?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. Like it was 4 of us that started it in one of our dorm room or apartments in Orlando.
Island
Myself,
360 was like legendary. It was like this like it was almost equivalent to, at least from my vantage point, like the Source magazine, or like because you just got everything from there.
yeah, it's gone through a few different phases, but it ultimately started because we needed a name for the group that was going to be throwing these parties in Orlando while we were in college. So shout out to Blaze,
Yeah.
shout out to Perry, shout out to Idris. It was us 4 started it. We threw our first party. You know, Adventure Island started in Orlando. We ultimately started doing them down here for Carnival, where we partnered up with DJ Crown Prince, Rhythm Stream, and Ricardo Drew, rest in peace. And yeah, and you've performed at Adventure Island down here.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, it's take on multiple forms. It started as just doing parties, and you know, we were like, yeah, we getting older. Let's do a little education, because we were all in CSA, and let's educate the people and bring some unity. Like Haitians don't really hate Jamaicans. Jamaicans don't hate Haitians. Like, is it curry chicken or chicken curry? Like, none of that matters.
There's been, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's been at least, you know, maybe I'm dating myself. My gray hair might already have told that story, but there has been this quiet Jamaican Trini beef, right?
Jamaican Trini beef.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least in my day. Right?
Yeah.
But I feel like today we're more unified than ever before, right? And I'm speaking about the Caribbean diaspora in general.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
I think, and I was a little younger when I was kind of noticing this, but I mean, all throughout, you know, when I was in middle school and high school, even in elementary school, you know, there was like this weird thing between Jamaicans and Haitians. Didn't understand it growing up. Didn't know where it came from. Then when I left South Florida and I went to Orlando and I joined CSA and ultimately like served as a president of CSA for a year. Then I got on the board for FCSA and I was a vice president. Like, just being exposed to all those different cultures. Like, some of my best friends are Haitian, Trini, Grenadian, Bajan. Like, when I was down here, I didn't really know too much about any other culture other than my own.
Okay.
You know, so being exposed.
And that's the Jamaican culture, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
So being exposed to other cultures, you know, at least for me personally, made it important to say, you know what? Let's, with 360, we've got all these followers and people. Let's educate people. Like, let's tell them about the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, and let's tell them about Guyana, let's tell them about Belize, and like all these different places in Curacao. Like I've met people from all of these places. Like, well, even if it's just one person, but I've learned from their culture. So like back then, I think it was a situation where like everybody wanted their space and wanted to kind of hold on to like what they came over here with.
You think the CSA, and for those who don't know, CSA, Caribbean Student Association?
Yeah.
Right. You think the CSA helped form that unity? Like,
100%, especially with the younger generation coming up.
Yeah.
Because you go to college, you want to have fun, you meet these people. A lot of times when you leave and go to college, you're not, like, when you grow up in a bubble. So you grow up around most people, other black people, whether it's Caribbean or not. But then when you go to college, now you're even more of a minority in another bubble.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? You look for people that are like you. You either gonna look for other black people or you're gonna look for other Caribbean people. I did both. So I found the first chance I got, I found CSA. I was like, okay, cool. Found the local restaurants, what made me feel close to home.
Yeah.
That 100% made a difference.
Okay.
100,000%.
okay. Yeah, I think that it's so important that we show a unified force as opposed to this individual thing. And I'm a Trini and I'm a Jamaican and we different. And even here while we're here in America, as sometimes I think that we separate ourselves from the African American and say, okay, you guys over there and we over here. You know, I think that we need to find the things that that we match with so that we can flourish in our differences.
Yeah, and you have, to be honest, the only way that happens is to be intentional.
Yeah.
There's a DJ, shout out to Ken Dollars. I thought she was Caribbean. The way she put down a dancehall set this weekend at Art Basel, listen, I was like, yo, what's your background? She's like, oh, I'm American.
Word.
I was like, shut up.
Yeah, she know it.
I was like, she's like, but I grew up in New York. So her experience is going to be different.
Well, the Miami, the New York, those two environments promote a certain type of understanding of the cultures, right? Because in Brooklyn, right,
it's undeniable. We here.
Yeah,
we outside.
Yeah. And so you have to everybody's from somewhere else, you know. So understanding that.
Yeah, but it just to go to it just goes to say that everybody has differences, but we all the same, right? So an American guy on the e-board of the Caribbean Student Association, helping guide other Caribbean students, but at the same time, he's learning about our cultures. We're learning about him. I'm learning about, I got put on a soca in college. I didn't know what soca was until I left South Florida.
Wow.
I've heard the Byron Lees and the Tempted to Touch and all that during high school, but I didn't know there was a word for it.
Wow.
I didn't know what soca or calypso was.
What does that mean?
What is that? One of the founders of 360, Idris gave me a USB. I might still have that somewhere. He gave me a USB loaded with soca music. And he was a big Bungie fan. So at the time, I had every Bungie song in the world.
This one fool say he don't like soca because it's a devilish thing.
Listen, I became a Bungie fan because he gave me his USB and I'd beer Bungie on it. Yeah, bro. So it's that's where my love for soca even started, was there. And then it just,
Yo, so Blink, man, you know what I'm curious about? Because of your ability to play in an open format, quote unquote open format, your ability to play in all genres, is there a best music?
Yes.
What's the best?
The best music to me is a music that evokes emotion, whether it's to dance or to sing. That's the best music to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Blink the Link is playing games, right? He understood the question. And, some of these guys are media trained, right? And what happened is because they media trained, they dance around the question. Hey, yo, Blink, is there such a thing as a best music as it relates to Blink?
As it relates to me, I can tell you that my favorites are always going to be reggae, R&B, and soul music. That's just me, because that it has the substance I want, it has the storytelling, it has the emotion that I like. If I want something a little bit more high energy, then I'll go to some house music. To me right now, and I might sound like an old head, but the newer dancehall and some of the newer soca, it doesn't resonate with me as much. I feel like at one point, once it was around when Cartel got locked up, dancehall had a shift, and it changed with the subject matter and the vibes and soca to me the same way too. I feel like at one point I was really into soca. I loved the songs that was coming out, the subject matter and the grooviness and the energy. There was a good balance, and I feel like now it's a little bit lost from my perspective. I could be wrong, but there was a point in time where I felt like every song was just yo, jump up and tear up the people in place, and it didn't have that same oh, I want to sing to this girl, or let me sing about having fun, or let me even all the rum songs and all that, but it just to me, it felt like it took a turn to that direction, and I lost interest in it.
Okay.
So that's why like soca and dancehall really aren't on my list at the top right now. You
So
asked
what's
me
at the top? What's at the top?
Top right now.
Yeah, like
As
you
far
in a
as, like,
dance and you gonna draw for something and like this is what I'm gonna play.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dancehall has the energy still. Even though I personally don't like it, the audience enjoys it and it has that energy. Like I'm the person that sometimes I don't even like playing the raw version of dancehall songs. Like,
It's not that you don't like it. You're saying you don't like the newer stuff that's coming out these days, or are you saying you don't like dancehall?
no, I'm not saying I don't like dancehall. I still love dancehall. The subject matter of some of the songs I can't relate to as much, so it's not my go-to if I'm driving around in my car. But if I'm in a dance and it's like, yo, I want some energy, I'm gonna play the new craft or the new, you know, like Skilly Bang or whatever, because
But that's because you're a good DJ.
it has the energy, right? Yeah, I'm gonna serve the people what they want, but I'm getting to the point now where I'm doing that a little bit less, and I'm kind of serving the people what I think they need, and kind of going back to, you know, my roots a bit of like how DJing started, where it's like, yo, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna play what I feel within reason, right? So if I got a soca party, I'm not gonna play a whole bunch of R&B, but within reason, I'm gonna serve you what I think you need to hear. Because there was a time where I got cussed out. Now me and this gentleman are good friends.
Yeah.
He actually texted me right before we started this. But shout out to Sebastian, because this was years ago. I went into a party. It probably was Good Vibes. And I played like another DJ. Like I just played, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play the hits and give them what they want. And he pulled me to the side after my set and was like, don't you ever do that again. And I was like, what you talking about? He was like, don't go up there and be like nobody else. Be Blink. We come here because we want to see you and we want to hear how you play and the songs that you want to play for us. Like, you ain't never been afraid to play music. You ain't never been afraid to like play that Sizwe song in the dance.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Play that classic song before classic was classic. Like, you never was afraid to do none of that. Don't ever come in a party and do that.
I'm glad
ever
Sebastian
again.
called my name in the
Like-
conversation too.
Like, you know, he cussed me, but I took it. Like, I was like, you know what? I understand where you're coming from, and I'll never do it again. And
Yeah.
since that point, I really haven't done it again. Like, there's songs that pop off in hip hop or dancehall or reggae or whatever, and it's like, if I'm not feeling the song, I'm not in a rush to go download it. I'm not in a rush to go play it. Like, somebody else can do it. That's their you know, gospel to go and do that.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I find soca music is the greatest music that ever exists.
You mad.
Right?
You mad.
And maybe because,
You're mad.
right? But I find soca, like, there's no other genre of music that gives me the euphoric feeling of love and enjoyment, right? You don't find fighting in soca. You don't find, you know, it's just something, it's just pure vibes and fun, right? I will say though,
House music,
can't compete with soca, brother.
but because you can't relate to it.
Nah, I don't want to
They
take
not singing
myself
about
back.
carnival and jumping up and a
Yeah, but soca's not just about jumping up.
I know it's
right?
not. I know it's
right.
not.
So soca touches every emotion. I know I'm biased, right? I know, but like I'm be hard pressed to put soca up against any other genre, big or small, right? Quote unquote big,
Yeah.
or small, where I'm gonna not pick soca. You know what I'm saying?
I respect your opinion, and again, this is not me saying soca's bad.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's a how you relate to it, right?
Yeah.
You know, remember the first 18, 19 years of my life, I didn't know what soca was,
Yeah,
and
you said that.
then I fell in love with it,
Right.
right? Like,
As does everybody.
I've the crazy thing is, I've gone through my career and been put in so many boxes. I started off once people knew me, I started off as a soca DJ. Then I was a dancehall DJ. Then I was a hip hop DJ. Then I was an R&B DJ. Now I'm an Afrobeat DJ. Before all of this, I was a hip hop and R&B. So it's like, I've been put in all these boxes and I love music so much. So it's like, it's hard for me to answer that question. But personally, if I'm just going to go play some music in the car or play some music at home, it's going to be R&B, that reggae, or like oldie soul, like some Sade, like something like that. Like, you know, because if I'm playing all the other stuff every weekend, every night, I need a break from that.
Because you are considered an Afrobeat DJ today, right? In some circles.
Yeah.
Right? How does Caribbean music, dancehall, soca, how do we meet that level of success of that same genre?
When you mean success, you mean like crossover, like...
Yeah, that level of play, that level of where the music is not just unique to the Caribbean diaspora, right? For instance, and people might not agree, but my position is soca needs an introduction, right? You yourself had to be introduced to soca because you didn't really know it as a thing, right? Joe Blow down the block, he probably doesn't know what soca is until I might introduce it to him, and then he or she gonna be like, oh man, this is vibes, right? But it needs this introduction from my vantage point. But now you have a genre relatively new called Afrobeats, right? That has kind of just taken the market by storm. Really and truly now world music is Afrobeats, right? These dudes is performing and making millions of dollars performing their records and not necessarily having to come to America or abroad to make that money, right? And I'm saying that soca music specifically is not there yet, but and I'm asking you, how, from your vantage point, is that something that we can obtain? Is that something that we can get to, or is that impossible?
I won't say anything is impossible. I like to look at this because this conversation comes up a lot, right? And I like to look at it from a different lens than most people. So just to kind of set the scene, if you were to take all of the Caribbean, all of the West Indian genres, soca, dancehall, reggae, zest, whatever it is, right? And group them all together, would you then say that they are close to the notoriety or the spread of Afrobeats, or would you say they're not?
Not by a long shot.
Not by a long shot. All right. I think a lot of people just look at the surface and the numbers, right? Oh, the Afrobeat artists are making money, or this, and they're big songs. I would argue that we shouldn't compare ourselves to Afrobeat, because when I'm at these Afrobeat events and these Afrobeat parties, aside from like Miami, which I think is a different case because a large audience that goes to these events are Haitian, the Afrobeat events are supported by mostly Africans. The African diaspora is huge. I don't know the exact numbers, but Africa in it of itself compared to the Caribbean, huge. The amount of people, the size that it takes up. Like, you know what they say about the map, how Africa
What's
is
the
not
population? 2 billion? Look it up and let me know.
Like, you know what they say about the size of Africa is proportionally smaller than what it actually is in real life, based on whatever the map. So if you take all those people that left Africa from all these countries and put them in New York or DC or Florida or Texas or wherever, it's going to make a lot more noise, because these people, like back in the day we were talking, when the Trinis come here, they want to support their thing and their soca. The numbers of Trinis here probably don't even like a drop of sand compared to the amount of Africans that are here, right? So if they're supporting their music, you know, that's going to make a difference. The second thing is,
You say it's 1.3 billion?
That's a lot of people. I don't know how many people are in the West Indies.
That's on the continent.
That's on the continent, right? Now imagine all of the people that are here. When I go to these parties, they're filled with Africans, right? When you go to DC or New York, like, they're filled with Africans. Even in Atlanta, filled with Africans. I would argue that soca, dancehall, reggae, like those genres, people know about them, but I just don't think we just don't have the numbers.
All right, so I like that, right? Because it's an argument that I have.
The second point.
Okay,
the second point is a lot of the times people don't bring this up, but in the Caribbean, like there's a lot of developing nations. People would think Africa is just huts and dirt. There's money in Africa. Like Davido comes from money. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's money in Africa, so like they're able to support their artists, to support their infrastructure and their genre of music. They're able to support it a lot differently than the Caribbean can support their genres. So I think those are the 2 points that people don't talk about. And it's just like, oh, we need to get more people to know about us and like our stuff. I don't think there's a lot more people liking Afrobeat versus liking Caribbean music. I just think there's more of them.
Mm-hmm. So then, by proxy, then there's a lot more people liking Afrobeats than liking soca,
Right?
because there's more of them.
Because there's more of them.
All right. So that being said, then what's the answer, right? So can soca specifically get to that level, and if so, 'cause I think the answer is yes. And if so, what does soca need to do to itself in order to make that happen? Right? Because the answer just can't be, well, they just don't got enough listeners.
Nah, I don't think it's that. I think it's just a matter of finding the people that would enjoy it. I don't know anyone that only likes one genre of music, right? I have American friends that love dancehall and soca and Afrobeat, and I love Afrobeat. I love soca. I'm not from Trinidad. I'm not from Nigeria or Ghana, right? I'm not from South Africa. I'm a piano. But I think you just have to find your audience, like just with anything, like even with you as an artist, right? Like you have to find your audience, and once you find your audience and your tribe, even me as a DJ, I'm not going to be everybody's favorite DJ. I got to find the people that like my style, that like the way that I present my music and my artistry. So I think that's all soca has to do. They have soca, they have carnivals or something in Japan, I think. Mm-hmm. Like they have, the Uber soca cruise that goes to these different countries and stuff, like
Dubai weekend.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a matter of us staying unified, right? So it's not dancehall versus soca versus calypso versus reggae. Like stay unified. Yes, we're all different when it comes to the genres, but just finding the audience that resonates with you. Like there's tons of white people that love reggae. We see it. There's whole white reggae bands. Yeah. Like there's Latin reggae bands. Yeah. Like I opened for one before and I was what is this?
Do you think we have to just come to the world of music as Caribbean music and not necessarily as these individual genres?
No.
You don't think that's
No. Because it's important that you maintain the history, right? Every genre is different. I don't want someone to just say Caribbean music and like their soca is the same as calypso, is the same as reggae. Like, no, they're different, right? There's a lineage that each of these genres come from. The same way with Afrobeats, right? It was Afrobeat, then Afrobeats, and like even to like break it down, there's tons of subgenres within African music. Kwaito and Amapiano and Guam, I think is how you pronounce it. Like there's so many subgenres, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to keep the distinction between the subgenres, but we just have to be unified in the sense that when dancehall sees soca and the soca artists having their day, cheer them on, support them. When the soca artists see the reggae artists doing their thing, support them, cheer them on. Like that's how we have to champion ourselves. If we don't champion ourselves, we can't expect other people to champion us.
Yeah, I don't profess to know the answer, right? But I suspect that, or my intuition tells me that in order for soca to become bigger than what it is, worldly than what it is, it needs to be a lot more inclusive than exclusive.
How so?
Because I think that much of the soca experience is unique to particular islands in the Caribbean, right? Specifically Carnival.
I was gonna say that I forgot what the interview was or what the clip was, but I think I saw Classic mention this. I don't want to misquote him, but he mentioned something about like because soca is so tied to carnival, it's gonna make it hard to like grow in a sense because it's tied specifically to carnival.
Yeah, I can't wait for Classic to come on because he is a bright mind, right? And you can tell that he's a thinker and he's absolutely thought about the pros, the cons, the what to do, what not to do in the avenue of soca music, right? But I just think that the exclusivity of the genre is prohibiting it from becoming more accessible to other people.
When you say the exclusivity of it, like
yeah,
break that down for me.
Yeah. So what happens is again, like I said earlier, I've got to introduce you to this genre.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got to explain to you like why you're waving your hand right now. Right. I got to explain to you what the paint and the powder thing is about. Right. And then you're gonna enjoy that. You're gonna love it. You're gonna can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna want to go and play mass in Miami, in New York, and wherever, Grenada. You're gonna want to do the job, and right. But I gotta explain all this stuff to you, and I find that in a lot of these other genres, there's no explanation necessary. Right? We just get it. You know, and I think that is part of. I don't want to say the problem, but it's part of what is. Not allowing it to be a little more worldly.
But then does that change it from soca? Does it form into something else before it?
Well, music is forever changing, isn't it? Right? And you said earlier as we started in this conversation, hip-hop of yesterday is not the same hip-hop of today, right? But it has become a world music that is unique, identifiable, and still hip-hop.
Well, when I say when it changes, I mean, for example, like before there was reggae, there was like ska, right? Ska isn't what these like other people that are non-Jamaican love. They love reggae,
yeah.
Right? Like before soca, there was calypso, and it kind of merged into so that's what I'm saying. But
the reggae of Buju, right, is a different reggae than Bob.
Yeah.
Would you say is that accurate?
Yeah, but even like there's like a line where it's like Buju can technically be dancehall, technically be reggae, whatever. I don't know, but even with that, right, reggae, dancehall, like those two have like stood the test of time in a sense, right? As far as the spread of the music and the genre. For soca to do what you want it to do you think it will still be soca or would it? Because now they have what like zest and like like that kind of music, right? Is that one, is that even a broken off genre of soca? Is it a broken off genre of dancehall? I don't know. Like,
I think zest is its own thing. And I don't want to talk for zest. I don't want to get in trouble with the zest crew, right?
All I know is his vibes.
It is vibes, right? Big up Lady Lava, because she's just killing the game right now.
Yeah.
But I think that as a creative, and I would like to think that I'm part of the creative crew. We can do a better job of expressing ourselves in a way that my neighbor could appreciate.
I hear you. I'm not the spokesperson for soca, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't feel reggae was doing that when reggae bust. I don't feel like dancehall was doing that when dancehall bust. I don't feel like even Afrobeat was doing that when Afrobeat bust. They were themselves, right? But whatever it was that caught fire.
Yeah, but I think the difference is, as you spoke to, is the numbers, right? And because we don't necessarily have those numbers, right? I've got to be able to bring you in. You see, if I had 1 billion people, I don't got to change anything. I could just be soca and be authentically that, whatever that is, right? And you just gonna jump on the train, right? Because we got 1 billion of us, right? But we don't have that. And so I'm just saying, so because we don't have that, then the music might have to change to be a little more palatable, so that
Yeah.
other people can help support and lift the music.
What might needs to be done as well is
I hope I don't get in trouble and get canceled.
nah,
already.
you know, so I think, and a lot of people don't know this, right? When they hear soca, they just think, all right, cool, it's soca, right? But then you have, you know, Bashment from Barbados, you have Dennery from St. Lucia, you know, you have soca from Grenada, you have soca from
Jab.
Saint Vincent and the
Yeah.
Grenadines, right? So like, I think if within soca, those different, I don't even want to call them subgenres because I don't know if that's the correct term,
I think it's okay.
but if all of those came together and it was a one push for soca, and it, because we all know Carnival, Trinidad, the Mecca, right? I've had promoters tell me while DJing for them, yo, play Trini soca. Don't play this Grenadian soca. But to me, because I'm not Trini, it's all soca, right? I understand the differences between them, but to me, it's all soca. So I think, I don't know if this is a thing in Trinidad. I don't know if all Trinis feel this way, but if so, that might be something that needs to be let go, where it's like, yo, we just want soca, right? Because I've had that experience as a DJ. Like, a Trini promoter came up to me and was like, nah, play some Trini soca. And it's like, yo, I can't play no Mr. Killer. I can't play no jab. I can't play like.
Yeah.
And to me, that mindset hurts the genre.
Yeah. Hinders it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you. You know, I also agree with your position from earlier when we talked about us today is more so unified in the Caribbean as opposed to separate.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we're seeing that in the different subgenres in the music. Right. We're seeing a whole lot more Dominican music. We're seeing a
Bouillon bussin'.
Bouillon, right? We seeing.
Bussin'.
I had Julian on the other day, our
Yeah.
last interview, and talking about Rake and Scrape and them trying to establish themselves outside of Bahamas as a bona fide music to contend with. And I think having that attitude and allowing DJs to play the music, right, regardless of where it's from, right? I think that type of energy and that type of attitude is what is another part of what needs to happen to elevate the music.
Absolutely.
Once we stay in these corners and this is Bouillon and this is Jab and this is Trinidad and we the best, right? Then I think it makes things stagnant.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
again, it's important
Because we need all those numbers.
They have history.
Yeah.
Like Bouillon has its history.
Yeah.
Jab has its history. But we can keep the history and just know it and keep the legacy, but we all have to move together.
Do you think that maybe some people who stand in their corners are saying to themselves that we have a history and we want to make sure that is identified as opposed to coming together and unifying? Maybe they don't see the big picture, or maybe that big picture is not necessary.
Yeah, I mean, some people are happy where soca is.
Yeah.
To be honest, they don't like the outsiders. They don't like that tourism has come to these carnivals and all of that. They don't like that. So, you know, it's, you know, maybe you gotta, you know, get the soca mafia on there and figure out.
Yeah, well, Julian said he got his own soca mafia.
Hey,
You know, and I'm trying to join. You know, speaking of that, right? What do you think about? I think I had who did I have? Genesis on, and I think that we talked about other genres in the carnival. It seems like there are many people within this culture who are anti the dancehall in the soca in the carnival, who anti the Afro beats in the carnival. What's your position?
I understand the importance of keeping carnival soca, but I also think every carnival is different. So the experience that you get at a Jamaica carnival is going to be different from a Trinidad carnival, going to be different from a crop over. Like they're all going to be different, right? So, you know, when I went to Jamaica carnival, I actually enjoyed hearing the dancehall. And at the time, and the year that I went, you know, I feel like the DJs did a good job and played the right dancehall that fit the vibe of what the energy of carnival, and it matched up with soca. You know, you don't want to be on the road listening to One Love by Bob Marley, right? You don't want to do that. The Afrobeat thing, I get why some DJs would play it because, you know, the tempos match. It's, you know, similar, you know, drum patterns and whatnot. I don't know if there's a carnival in Africa, but if there was, I would be open to hearing some Afrobeat mixed in with the soca on the road in Ghana or Kenya or wherever, right? You know.
Well, I will tell you that I was in Sierra Leone, and I was part of a team that brought carnival to Sierra Leone.
How was that?
We brought straight vibes and soca. Right?
Strictly soca.
Strictly soca.
You know, but that's good though. It doesn't, you know, everyone has their own.
What you saying? Speak up. What you saying? Oh, she said they did play a little Afro beats. I didn't hear that.
You know, but
in the party, but on the road.
You know,
okay.
On the road, I would say, you know, so for example, Miami, right?
Yeah.
Even Miami, I feel like the road should be strictly soca, right?
Okay.
Once you cross the stage, I feel like anything goes. Look, like you said, we're all unified. We're more unified now than back in the day. Back in the day, like you was the Trini Jamaican beef, I didn't know what soca was until I went to college. I went to dancehall parties, didn't hear one soca song ever.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. Now I feel like, you know, people are looking for sometimes a break from the monotony. When you go a dancehall party and they might drop a soul segment or R&B or some soca, it helps break it up a little bit, you know? So I don't mind once the trucks park up in Miami, you play a little dancehall set, you know, maybe drop a little Afrobeat, get back to the soca, cool. On the road, soca. You're not in Jamaica. I don't want to hear dancehall on the road in Miami.
Yeah, but even if you're in Jamaica, some might argue that that Jamaica Carnival, like every other carnival, is a Trinidad style carnival, and so therefore, it should be soca playing on the road.
But then,
regardless of whether you're in Notting Hill or whether you're in Jamaica.
But then you go into the argument of, okay, you know, you said it's okay if I call it a subgenre, but some people be like, yo, bouillon ain't no subgenre of soca. Is bouillon. Bashment ain't no subgenre of soca. It's bashment. I'd argue bashment is a lot closer to dancehall than it is to soca when you hear the rhythms, right?
Okay.
So every island has their music and has their culture that they want to put forth and have a carnival around.
Yeah.
Like Byron Lee, Pioneer, right? Like one of his biggest songs, Dancehall Soca.
Yeah.
Play the dancehall in Jamaica. Yeah. I don't want to hear dancehall when I go to St. Lucia. I want to hear Dennery.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear, like, no disrespect, I don't want to hear Marshall and Bungie when I go to St. Lucia. I want to hear their artists. I want to hear their soca.
Yeah.
When I go to now, it doesn't mean Jamaican artists should be lazy and not make soca in Jamaica. That's an opportunity, right? You know, Conscience has tried making soca songs.
Beanie.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these artists have made soca
Bounty,
songs.
I think, even Cartel too.
Yeah, Cartel did it. Yo, so, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's an opportunity there, but Jamaica's a dancehall country. Mm-hmm. And again, when I've went, the DJs did a very good job of playing the right dancehall songs. You know, when you go to Haiti Carnival, they're not playing soca, they're playing Rabode. Is Rabode a subgenre of soca?
No,
I don't think so.
But the Haitian Carnival is not a Trinidad style carnival, right? Their carnival is not. Their carnival is Haitian.
But it's a carnival. So guess what? But hold on. So guess what? When you go carnival in St. Lucia, it's St. Lucia. Everything doesn't have to tie back to Trinidad.
But it does though.
It doesn't.
Carnival does. Carnival does. And this is, and I love it, right? Because we'll deal with it in the comments, right?
Yeah.
But carnival, as we see it, carnival as we know carnival, is Trinidadian.
It is. Right?
It is. Carnival as we see it. Now, in some places, like Haiti, like Brazil, right? Like Louisiana, right? That is their own thing, unique to them, right?
Right.
And really in Louisiana and Bahamas have a connection,
Right.
right? But the way we see carnival, as we see carnival today in mass, the costume, right, all that is Trinidad.
My question to you
Yeah.
is, if Trinidad is so good at carnival and
Not
they,
that it's-
and
not- yeah.
they're good at carnival and they want to respect because I know the history of carnival, right? We did a whole documentary on it.
Sure, no problem.
Right? They want to respect the history of carnival and, you know, the revolution and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Trinidad owns the name Carnival. From what I remember about history, I don't think they own the name Carnival. So when it comes to Carnival,
Yeah.
Trinidad has its history when it comes to Carnival. If someone else wants to do a Carnival, I don't think they have to necessarily do it with Trinidad's story behind it, right? You can understand and respect Trinidad's Carnival and their history, but if anyone else wants to do a Carnival, because there's no reason why Brazil should be allowed to have Carnival their way, Haiti should be allowed to have Carnival their way and have their own story behind it, and other places can't have Carnival their way, right? Because again, Trinidad is Trinidad. No one is touching Trinidad's legacy
Yeah.
and their history.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. There's a lot of similarities between other countries' carnivals with the costumes and the juve and all of and these things, right? That's just the nature of the beast, right? Like
I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say that you got to pay homage, and I'm just outlining the facts, right? That if you have a carnival, right, where there's mass and masqueraders, right, that is styled after Trinidad.
It is.
Right?
But if something's
That's what I'm
styled
saying.
after something,
Yeah.
it's just styled after. It doesn't, like you said, don't have to pay homage. So if it's styled after it, there can be changes,
Yeah.
right?
No, and over years,
Soca
right?
was styled off of Calypso. Dancehall was styled off of other, like, if things
I
can
don't
be
know. I
styled.
don't know if soca was styled after Calypso. I think soca is derived
What did
from
derived?
soca, from Calypso,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
dancehall is derived from reggae music, and that is important. That distinction is important, you know, because it means something, you know. And I
Yeah.
think we live in a world where history and the definition of things don't mean anything anymore, right? And if I say, well, you know, this is the Trinidad style carnival, Joe over here is offended because, like, well, what do you mean? Like, we could have our own thing too? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to say that it come from over here.
Yeah.
It just so happened that it's Trinidad, right? And I'm not gonna let you just say, not you per se,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm just saying in general. I'm not gonna let you just say, well, not really, right? No, this is where it's like you have your thing. Job is a thing. It's y'all thing, right?
We're in agreement.
Yeah. Okay,
We're in agreement.
Okay.
I'm just saying, yes, it's styled after Trinidad,
Yeah.
but if they want to come over here and style it and then put their own twist on it,
Yeah.
low them, let them do it. It is
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is because they're
yeah.
not touching
So
the legacy of what Trinidad
Are you
is.
saying that if they want to put their own style on it and they want to play dancehall or they want to play hip hop, right? We should let that happen.
It is
Should
what
I
it
never
is.
say about that?
I mean, people can have their opinion, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Again, it's a difference if you have people coming into Trinidad now playing dancehall on the road. People coming into Trinidad playing Afrobeat.
Well, you know,
people
there's
coming
this whole
into
thing now
Trinidad
with
playing hip
with
hop.
Vibes Cartel and coming into Trinidad for Carnival and having a show or being a guest artist on a show. There's this whole thing. I'm not saying that it's right, wrong. I'm just saying that it's a thing.
I don't know why it's a thing.
Okay.
Because I know Trinis that don't like soca. I know Trinis that don't care for carnival, right? It's very few
Yeah.
of them, right?
But I would say they're insignificant.
But I know them, right? My thing was, Cartel coming to Trinidad. Is he coming to Trinidad for Carnival, or is he coming during the time that Carnival is kept, right? Because I think those are two different things. If Cartel is coming and he's gonna perform he's promoted and I'm gonna perform on a truck. Well, damn it, Cartel, if you go in Trinidad, I hope you're performing your soca song them on the truck, because it's Trinidad. But if he's just there and he's gonna put on a show during the time of Carnival, guess what? There's gonna be people that will choose to go to that, understanding that Cartel is a dancehall artist, over going to this soca fet or this wet fet or this whatever.
Yeah,
because it's a choice. I don't think there's anything wrong with him being there.
Trinidadian, I think some of the Trinis would say, you have the whole year. You have the whole
Yeah, you can say that. But the thing is,
year.
if nobody was gonna go to it, he wouldn't do it. So there's people there that are gonna want to go to it.
Oh, no doubt. I'm not giving you a position. I'm not giving you a Sizwe position.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to speak on behalf of what I think people are trying to say.
No, I understand what they're trying to say, but I don't think they need to say it, because vibes. If you're into soca and Cartel is coming to Trinidad and he's doing a show during amidst all the other Carnival things, it shouldn't affect you, right? It has nothing to do with you. Now, if Cartel is coming, he's performing main stage during Carnival. But
this, I think that's my point, right? I think that people are scared of, not today, right? Not today, because he's a guest artist. He's just one of. It's a cultural show with a bunch of different type of artists, soca included. I think the fear is not about today, but about tomorrow.
But it's up to the Trinis. I could be wrong, but I don't know any non-Trini people kind of running things in Trinidad when it comes to Carnival, right? You might have partners and link up with other countries or whatever, but it's up to the Trinis to protect their home and protect their legacy, right? So if a promoter allows Cartel to come there, or Beanie or Sexy Red or whoever want to come Trinidad during Carnival, if they allow them to infiltrate, that's on them.
Word.
Right? You got to protect home,
I rock with it. I feel you. I feel you 100%. Bro, this conversation just got good,
I know.
But we've been going for a little while,
I'll be back.
We just had Art Basel.
Yeah.
You did something for Art Basel?
I was all over. I had a couple events that I was DJing, and now again I'm at the point where I'm just, the money is important, but I'm focused on events that I can have fun at, where I can go and express myself and play the music that I like, that I feel other people will like, and I can be myself. That I feel like I'm my best version. You get the best version of Blink when I can be myself with no strings and, nobody could kind of control what I'm doing. I love all kinds of music. So if I can go to an event and play, 6-7 genres for the night, I'm happy. I feel like everyone else is going to be happy because I get to communicate with everybody that's in the room. I met a lot of cool people. Art Basel was, it started off not hectic for me, and then all of a sudden it got crazy. So but I'm glad it's over. I get a chance to be at home with my son now. And
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I get a chance to be at home, and I'm still out working.
Yeah,
diapers ain't cheap.
Yeah. No, I get it. But, formula not cheap too.
Yeah, so Art Basel was cool. I'm just building, growing the brand, networking, and just staying adaptable and changing with the times and the scene. And again, if it's music and it's good, I'm gonna play it. So you can put me in whatever box you want. I can be an Afrobeat DJ for the next 6 months, and then whatever next genre is pop off, I'm gonna be right there shelling down a party with it, because I know music. I feel that I'm good at it.
Yeah,
and
now you are absolutely good at it.
You know,
I want to thank you for taking the time to sneak in a Sizwe C record whenever you see fit.
Yeah, man.
And I know that it happens more than I see. You know, and so it's next time you come, I want to talk to you about what artists need to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like again, we could talk so much.
Yeah,
but what
yeah,
artists
yeah.
need, what you see that artists need to do that many of them are not doing, to get their music to a place to where you can play a record that might not be popular or might not be as known. You know, Blink, I want to say again, thank you for coming to What They Do. You know, this was insightful. I think the conversations, particularly about Carnival and about soca and dancehall.
The Trinity's gonna come from my neck in these comments. I already know.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're probably gonna come for me more than they come for you. But I think that these conversations need to be had, right? In order for us to grow the genre, to grow the genres, for us to be more palatable to outside entities, to absorb and take in the music and want to be a part of that same culture, whether it's a Trinidad style carnival or whether it's carnival in Jamaica, right? Whether it's dancehall or whether it's zest. We need to talk and be way more unified than where we are. And even though where we are today is a lot more unified than where we were yesterday.
And me personally, right? I love it all. Like all the artists out there, big up on themselves, keep making good music, keep supporting your DJs. The people out there, support your artists, support your DJs. You know, these events and fests and stuff, it takes a group effort, but the artists and the writers and the producers behind the music and then the DJs, you know, they're really the heartbeat of you know, the entertainment industry. And you know, we can't do it without the patrons and the fans, and you know, we wouldn't do it without you. So
man. Hey yo, Blink. Big up yourself, Blink.
Yeah, man. Big up.
Yo, this is What They Do, man. I just want to thank Blink the Link for coming through. You know, every week, every other week, I got a new guest for you. And I'm proud to say that I personally know most and all of the people that come here and show us some love, right? So if you got any questions for Blink, drop them in the comments. You got any questions for me, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the thing, and you know, let's make this happen. Hey yo, what they do?
What they do.